recently I became a little bit down. This is hard work. We've been doing this since the beginning of the summer, and you continually run into people who don't get it, who don't understand, who label you a certain thing, you know, an angry Black woman rather than a passionate Black woman, a Black person who doesn't want to do the work to get ahead. And so, you know, I'm going to be honest, like probably the last few weeks, on top of the fact that in my job, you know, I send a lot of young people to prison, and it's really sad. You know, and I advocate for them not to go. So I was looking at what happened with householders stealing, you know, allegedly taking $61 million, yet they're going to get a slap on the wrist, and it happens all the time. But I see young Black boys stealing because they need food and they go to prison. And it was just like, how do you not understand structural racism, and you're not aware of these things? And so I actually have been speaking with students. Kids stayed last night. It was CSU, and the energy that they have. Oh my God! Last night I was like, I can't stop. I got to stop being annoyed. I can no longer sit back and say, I don't know if I want to do this. Like these kids, man, and I don't mean to call them kids, but young adults. It's like they are so full of energy. They want to do it different. The way we used to do it is wrong. Everybody knows that it's wrong. Things have been quiet, and they're like, we're not doing that. And it's funny because they're all unorganized and chaotic, but they're trying, and they won't stop. And that's the thing. Is last night they're like, well, we didn't get this right last time. We did this, and it was so funny because they came to the floor on everything that they did wrong, and that's the motivation. It's like we're gonna do more wrong than we will ever do right. And so let's continue to get it wrong until we get it right. And it was just so motivating. And I don't think young adults and young people are given enough credit for how much they inspire and how much they motivate. So that is my answer to that. And then for the person that asked about how to get involved locally, if you're looking to get involved in Lake County, you can reach out to blacklivesmatterlakecounty.com, info at Black Lives Matter Lake County. And I will put my email in the chat box. And if you're looking for something a little less local, reach out to me still. I have lots of connections all over the place, and I'll definitely get you in tune with Black Lives Matter, NAACP, Urban League, or anything that you're interested in.
Thank you. So Dr. Baginski and Ms. Jacobs, the fourth question still is, can you describe a moment or perhaps a person who ignited you to become a force for positive change in the community? I know you've talked a little bit about that, but is there more that you'd like to
Sure. For those who don't know, Nancy Brown is the owner of Ladies and Gentlemen Salon and Spa. And I mentioned earlier, I was a single mom, and when my son was 2, I was going to have the first holiday of my life alone because he was going to be with his dad, and I could not afford to fly back home to New Orleans. So I didn't know what I was going to do being alone for the first time on a holiday. And I happened to be getting my hair cut, and they said, hey, you know, we're going to be doing a food bank or food service at one location. Would you like to join our staff and help serve food to the homeless on Thanksgiving Day? And that was a pivotal moment where I realized that anyone could really volunteer in a very small capacity that could be life-changing. And she continues to be a mentor and an igniter for me.
Thank you. So, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
No, were you going to ask Lucy a question though, or because I don't want to overlap that?
I was going to go to the next question unless you would like to speak more about moment of ignition.
Oh, no. I'm sorry.
All right, let's move on to the next one then. So why is it important to have a network? And how do people in your network support one another?
Mine would probably roll right into what I was saying about networking earlier. Yeah. Networking has been instrumental in allowing me to grow here in the community and be put in the direction of the leaders of Lake County that I need to be in front of. And also just building those bonds, just because I need to be more in with the mental illness and addiction agencies, and unfortunately in the LGBTQ community, those things are run very high, just for obvious reasons. So it's very important that I'm there and I'm networking with them, and also I have those resources. I am not I do not provide any counseling at our agency. So, I mean, at our organization. So I'm able to refer those individuals out. And actually I've went a step further, and I facilitate a practicum once a month. And in that practicum is Lake County leaders that, will service LGBTQ individuals. So I'm able to put together a resource book of individuals I can call, because a barrier that they end up with is not wanting to make that first phone call because they don't know who they're talking to. So I'm able to either make that phone call for them, or I'm able to give them a number that directs them right to the person instead of going to the receptionist or going through an intake form. Most individuals won't do that. So I've been able to develop that through networking, and it's worked out very well.
I can say that, obviously networking can lead to job opportunities, internship opportunities, anything that you could think of. But this last year, I would say that I really understood or got a better understanding of networking, because I have multiple networks. I have networks for funding, networks for opportunities, but then I became really a part of a network of young professionals that, when it's hard sitting on all these boards, I'm the only Black face on some boards. I'm the youngest on another board. I'm the minority on actually about 4 or 5 different committees. It makes it very, very hard. But when I come around my young professionals, and some of them aren't young, I just say young professionals, but progressive mindsets, and we differ significantly from what we want, that network is invigorating. And I think that we start to lose context of how important a network is that motivates you. Just as much as somebody can get you a job, you need somebody to motivate you to your greatness. You need people to tell you when you're doing wrong. You need those people around you that you trust. And I think that we call them friends, but we can actually have powerful networks of individuals who are just true to whom they are and true to you. And you build on those people and you continue to add people to that circle, you can do nothing but be successful.
And I agree with a lot of what Marcita just said in terms of, we all have multiple networks that we work in and through, whether, for me, it's a Chamber of Commerce. It's also our Leadership Lake County alumni, which is, over 1,500 people in and of itself. I'm also part of a larger network of leadership organizations across the country. And this year I happen to be serving as chair of that organization. But I think there's a couple things important to realize with networking. And over the years, I've seen many business people go to a chamber networking event thinking I'm going to make a sale somehow. And networking is not the same as selling. Networking is about building the relationship. It's about meeting someone and getting to know who they are. So when the opportunity does present itself to potentially do business together, there's already some trust and respect established with that individual. And I think that's a really important thing to realize, is that, networking is really about understanding each other and being honest with who you are and what your passions are. And I think when you do that and people know you for that, you become the go-to person for a number of things. And I know Betty and Marcita are both go-to people. We just started doing some work around how to increase diversity on nonprofit boards in Lake County. And Marcita and Betty were 2 of the top names that came up, because I don't have a deep network within the Black community, or a deep network within the LGBTQ community, but they do. And so I need them to be at my table, and then also to leverage their network at that table so that we can effectively make change in Lake County.
So it's not just who you know, but it's the people that you know and who they know. And so that expands your network exponentially.
Absolutely. The 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, as they say.
Right. Very good. Because there's a lot of questions coming in, I'm going to go ahead and skip number 6 and go right into number 7. So you're all leaders in the community. And for our purposes, I would consider you master coaches. So what are some approaches you take to developing the talents in others, those around you, those that you interact with? Are there some strategies or tips that you would offer as to developing those talents in other people?
I'll jump in on that one. I would say one, yes, there's lots of strategies. And the first thing is to meet people where they are, understand where they are, and that one strategy is not going to fit every person. With all of our programs, we do a lot of work around this idea of behavior styles and understanding that how you behave is the only thing that someone can base their perception of you on when you first meet them. And so understanding how you behave and what the impact of that is one strategy. And the other is to understand their goals. You know, what do they want to achieve? Because it doesn't matter what I might want them to achieve. It matters what they want to achieve. Now, being a small nonprofit, it's always painful when someone leaves to go on to a better job because I've just trained someone else to do something better for someone else. But that's also a success marker, you know, for me, is when they move on, they're doing something bigger and better than they could have done under the auspices of Leadership Lake County. And I would also say it's tough, but kind of to Marcita's point, sometimes getting used to providing some uncomfortable feedback to someone, and really kind of thinking through how to present it to them in a way that, even though, you know, depending on their style, they may take that personally and be hurt. How do you then make it constructive so that they can move on and grow?
Thank you.
I think mine, I'm an advocate before I'm anything. And that has been an interesting twist for me. I've always had my fists up and ready to fight for the community. But I learned very early on in this that that's not going to work. I don't need to fight anymore. I need to find out who will collaborate and partner with me. And there's a large group here in Lake County that's actually open to that. So with that, I would definitely tell someone to just not be so ready to jump and maybe listen more, and be prepared to take in what Jesse said, that constructive criticism. I was a person in the beginning who took a lot of stuff personally, but I've realized as I've went on, there's a lot of leaders before me that have a lot of years in here that I could learn from greatly. And it's been a great experience to be able to turn my entire mind frame around. I can tell you it really happened.
I can say learning to be myself. When I read this question, I asked myself if I thought I was a master. I don't ever want to be a master at anything. I always want to be learning. So no, I'm not a master coach. I'm just myself. And and it reminded me of a story probably about 6 years ago. Someone told me I was an activist, and I was so up in arms. I'm like, I'm nice. When I bring a problem, what are you talking about? Like, but I am an activist. Like I am. And once I became comfortable with myself, I realized, like, I started running so hard. Like I've done so many things. And I'm like, oh, that's the key to this thing. So teaching people to be themselves, I think is how you master anything. Like skill sets are skill sets. There's no, there's no recipe to this. Anybody can learn how to have a skill, but learning to be true to who you are is the thing that takes a lot, and being okay with disagreeing and being okay with being wrong. I always say to my team, we're going to keep failing until we get it right. And we fail. Like that's how we talk about it, failing forward. That we don't even talk about being successful. We talk about failing. I'm like, oh, we're going to fail 15 times this week. Let's go. And then it's like, once we get it right, now we're going to fail at making it better, making it efficient, making it, practical, but we're always going to be failing to the next best thing. And so I think that, making people comfortable in their failures, comfortable, it sets them up for being comfortable in their success, and making sure that they know that it's okay to bring themselves to the table. Always bring you, don't be something else because you think that that's what's going to get you where you need to go, because you are enough, for anything that you want to do.